Dear students, welcome you all. In this video, I am explaining about 5 marks and 10 marks questions with answers of Chinese civilization in chapter number 3.4. Subscribe this channel and click the bell button for getting more notifications. Part 1. Answer in 15 to 20 sentences. Each one carry 5 marks. Question number 8. According to your textbook, question number 8. Write a note on Confucius and his philosophy. Write a note on Confucius and his philosophy. Introduction. Confucius was the greatest of the Chinese philosophers. He was also known as Kung Fu-Tzu. He was the greatest of the Chinese philosophers. He was also known as Kung Fu-Tzu. Early life. Confucius was born in the kingdom of Lu in 571 B.C.E. He was born in the kingdom of Lu in 571 before Common Era. He lost his father at the age of 3. He faced a lot of difficulties. Confucius learned archery and music. He married at the age of 19 and gave up family life at the age of 23. He worked in different capacities as language teacher, editor, judge, and a minister. He proved to be a great philosopher and teacher. The philosophy of Confucius is known as Confucianism. The principles of Confucius had basis in common Chinese tradition and beliefs. He taught loyalty towards family, worship of ancestors, respect to elders, and unity among the people of China. His sayings. First one, what you do not like when done to yourself, do not do to others. It is considered as golden rule of Confucius. Second one, character is the foundation of society. Character is the foundation of society. Then third one, wisdom begins at home. Wisdom begins at home. Fourth one, the great man acts before he speaks and speaks according to his actions. The great man acts before he speaks and speaks according to his actions. Fifth one, the society rests on the obedience of children to their parents. Obedience of children to their parents and of the wife to her husband and the students to their teachers. Excessive taxation and barbaric punishment should be abolished. Excessive taxation and barbaric punishment should be abolished. Then seventh one, to see what is right and not to do it is want of courage or of principle. Eighth one, he wished that unemployed be provided jobs. Ninth, the government must protect the orphans, the aged, the widows, the deceased and the disabled. He wished that unemployed should be provided jobs by the government or the state. Then the government must protect the orphans, the aged, the widows, and diseased, and also the disabled persons. Next one, question number 9. Write a note on art and architecture of China. Art and Architecture of China. Introduction. Chinese were massive builders. They were massive builders. Their contributions to the field of art and architecture are remarkable. Following are the important contributions of Chinese on art, architecture, sculpture, etc. Contributions of Chinese on art, architecture, sculptures, etc. The first one, art of painting. Art of painting. The Chinese had developed wonderful painting. They painted on silk cloth, tomb walls, pots and papers. They believed that tomb paintings were means to protect the dead and help their souls to go to heaven. So they believed that the tomb paintings will protect and also believes helps to go for heaven. Sculpture. Chinese developed the art of casting bronze statues of animals and monsters. Developed the art of casting bronze statues of animals and monsters. Buddhism influenced the sculpture and the statues of Bodhisattva. Carved stone are found in large number. Terracotta sculpture. The Terracotta army assembled in the tomb of first Qin emperor consists of life-size images of more than 8,000 warriors and horses. They are very attractive. The Terracotta army assembled in the tomb of the first Qin emperor consists of life-size images of more than 8,000 warriors and horses. They are very attractive. Architecture. The Great Wall of China is one of their most impressive and everlasting architectural accomplishments. It was built for the purpose of protecting the country from Huns, Mongolian, and other invasions. The Great Wall of China was built for the purpose of protecting the country from Huns, Mongolian, and other invasions. It is 2,380 kilometers of length, about 22 feet of height, and 20 feet broad. After every 300 feet, a watching tower of 400 feet height is built. It is one of the wonders of the ancient world. The Great Wall of China is one of the wonders of the ancient world. They also built great palaces with mud and wood. They built great palaces with mud and wood. They built Buddhist temples called pagodas. Buddhist temples called pagodas. Important among them are Giant Wild Goose Pagoda, Jade Pagoda, and the Flask Pagoda. The Temple of Sleeping Buddha in Beijing is noteworthy. Question number 10. Write a note on writing and literature of China. Writing and literature of China. Introduction. Chinese had developed the writing during Shang period. Chinese script was standardized during the Qin rulers. It means the writing was started during Shang period, but the script was standardized during Qin rulers. They have no alphabet and parts of speech. In Chinese language, there is no alphabet and parts of speech. It consists of characters which are more than 40,000. More than 40,000 characters are includes in Chinese script. Chinese script also influenced Japanese, Korean, and Vietnamese scripts. It is written from top to bottom. The Chinese scripts is written from top to bottom. The inventions of paper, silk, and ink for writing helped the growth of writing and literature. The practice of writing history was also popular in China. The practice of writing history was also popular in China. The Chinese literature comprised prose, poetry, philosophy, and history. The Chinese literature comprised prose, poetry, philosophy, and history. In this way, the invention of paper, silk, and ink helps to growth of literature. The Imperial Library of Han Dynasty included 3,123 volumes of classics, 2,705 volumes on philosophy, 2,705 volumes on philosophy, 868 works on medicine, 1,318 volumes of poetry, 2,568 volumes of mathematics, and 790 volumes on war aspects. Tai-Li-Po, the greatest of Chinese poets. Tai-Li-Po was considered as the greatest of Chinese poets. Tu Fu was also a great poet. Another important or great poet of China was Tu Fu. The Chinese had developed geography, geometry, arithmetic, calendars, astronomy, and also predicted the eclipses. Part 2. Answer in 30 to 40 sentences. Each carries 10 marks. Here one question is there, 10 marks question. Describe the contributions of Chinese civilization. Describe the contributions of Chinese civilization. Introduction. China is the oldest civilization which continues till today. Chinese developed a unique civilization on the river plains of Hwang-Ho in northern China and Yangtse and Sikiyang in southern China. Hwang-Ho in northern China and Yangtse and Sikiyang in southern China. Political condition. Early China was ruled by many kings. China has a long-standing political history. More than 15 dynasties have ruled China from 2100 B.C.E. 2100 before Common Era to 1911 Common Era, 1911 CE. The earliest dynasty which came into existence in around 2100 BCE. And the latest or the last was Manchu, which ended in 1911 CE. Manchu dynasty was the last dynasty of China, ends in 1911. The political history of China is classified into two eras or two stages. The first one, Ancient Era, from 2100 to 221 BCE. Second one, Imperial Era, 221 BCE to 1911 CE. Shih Hu Wang Ti was the greatest ruler of China. He introduced uniform laws throughout the country. He divided the country into 36 provinces, appointed civil and military officers to each provinces, and constructed roads and canals to connect far-flung parts of the empire. Another important ruler was Wu Ti, was the famous ruler of Han Dynasty. Wu Ti was the famous ruler of Han Dynasty. He was a great patron of art and architecture. He was a great patron of art and literature. During his reign, thousands of great works on prose, poetry, philosophy, mathematics, and medicine were composed. During his reign, thousands of great works on prose, poetry, philosophy, mathematics, and medicine were composed. This period is known as the Golden Age of Chinese history. Wu Ti's rule was known as the Golden Age of Chinese history. Social condition. The Chinese society had four classes. The top class included officials, scholars, and teachers. The second class comprised of farmers. Artists formed the third class and merchants formed the last. In this way, the Chinese society had divided into four stages or four classes. The top class includes officials, scholars, and teachers. The second class comprised of farmers. Artists formed the third class and merchants formed the last one. Mandarins, a small class of people who were able to read and write Chinese script, enjoyed honor, respect, and power, both in the society and the government. So the Mandarins occupied a respectable position in the Chinese society. Economic condition. It was an agriculture-based society. Chinese society was an agriculture-based society. Canal irrigation was well developed by Chinese. Wheat, rice, soya beans, cereals were the main agricultural crops. Tea and horticultural crops were also grown. Along with the agricultural crops, they also grown the horticultural crops like tea. They mainly domesticated animals like pigs and sheep. Industry and crafts. Carpenters, smiths, woodcutters, masons, potters, weavers formed the important craftsmen. Silk was an important contribution of China to the world. Silk was an important contribution to China to the world. Contribution of China to the world. China had trade relations with West through land route via Afghanistan and Persia, and also through Indian Ocean, which is known as Silk Route. Silk, iron, tea, salt, and cotton products were the main items of export. Then learning and literature. Chinese writing have no alphabet. And parts of speech. It consists of characters which are more than 40,000. Chinese writing started as pictograph. Later, they developed characters or logograms. Chinese script also influenced Japanese, Korean, and Vietnamese scripts. The Chinese literature comprised prose, poetry, philosophy, and history. The Chinese literature, relating to Chinese literature, it comprises prose, poetry, philosophy, and history. The Imperial Library of Han Dynasty included 3,123 volumes of classics, 2,705 volumes on philosophy, 868 works on medicine, 1,318 volumes of poetry, 2,568 volumes of mathematics, and 790 volumes on war aspects. These are the explanations relating to literary contributions of Chinese. Tai-Li-Po and Tu-Fu were greatest Chinese poets. These are the two important or great poets of China. They are Tai-Li-Po and Tu-Fu. Tai-Li-Po and Tu-Fu were greatest Chinese poets. Important inventions of Chinese: silk, tea, ink, paper, brush for painting and writing, abacus, acupuncture, gunpowder, glass, pottery, porcelain, rockets, spoon, forks, umbrella, seismograph and mariner's compass, etc. are the important contributions of Chinese to the world. These are the important inventions of Chinese. Philosophy. The three philosophers of China are Lao Tse, Confucius, Mencius. Lao Tse, Confucius and Mencius are the three important philosophers of China. These three philosophers influenced the religious ideas of Chinese to a greater extent. Then art of painting. The Chinese had developed wonderful painting. They painted on silk cloth, tomb walls, pots and papers. Sculpture. Chinese developed the art of casting bronze statues of animals and monsters. Casting bronze statues of animals and monsters. Terracotta sculpture. The terracotta army, assembled in the tomb of the first Qin emperor, consists of life-size images of more than 8,000 warriors and horses. Architecture. Chinese were massive builders. The Great Wall of China is one of their most impressive and everlasting architectural accomplishments. It was built for the purpose of protecting the country from Huns, Mongolian, and other invasions. The Great Wall of China was built for the purpose of protecting the country from Huns, Mongolians, and other invasions. It is one of the wonders of the ancient world. They built Buddhist temples called pagodas. Important among them are Giant Wild Goose Pagoda, Jade Pagoda, and the Flask Pagoda. The Temple of Sleeping Buddha at Beijing is noteworthy. Beijing is the capital city of China. The Temple of Sleeping Buddha at Beijing is noteworthy. Religion. No particular religion was followed by the ancient Chinese. They essentially worshipped the spirits of their ancestors. The Buddhist monks and traders of India popularized Buddhism in China. But it could not develop until the decline of Han Dynasty because it strictly practiced Confucian thought. Conclusion. In this way, Chinese developed an unique civilization. China is the oldest civilization which continues till today. Chinese are always proud of their civilization. Chinese inventions and philosophy influenced human life in several ways. The Chinese inventions and philosophy influenced human life several ways. So, my dear students, here stop my explanations on 5 marks and 10 marks questions of Chinese civilization. Don't forget to subscribe and click the bell button for getting more notifications. Thank you all.